Hey, this is Matt from Surprise Comics coming back at you with another haul. It was a decent week for me. I didn't pick up any major huge keys or anything like that, but I got some fun stuff, some good stuff. We'll start out with this Lazarus #1. Stopped at a store that was like a record music exchange store. I'd never been in it. Thought I'd go and check it out. They had a lot of cool old action figures, and they had a bunch of comics. And they were some of the junkiest stuff I've ever looked through. But I was able to find a couple things while I was in there. I got a Lazarus #1. It's cost me $5. It's in pretty good shape, so I'm satisfied with that. I also got this one, Cal #1. This one's kind of, to me, this is kind of like a sleeper comic. It's written by Kyle Higgins. He's one of my favorite writers. He probably his most famous thing is he wrote Nightwing for 30 issues during the New 52. It's an excellent run. Really enjoyed reading it. And Higgins went to school to be a filmmaker, director, producer, all that stuff. And his graduation or final project, I don't know, film school, you make a film for your last assignment. This is the movie he made. He made a short video or a short movie called Cal. And ever since he's graduated, his main focus has been trying to make this into a feature movie or a television series. So it's something to keep an eye on. I don't know if he'll ever quit until he can do it. And so best wish of luck. Wish him luck. Hope he's able to accomplish that. That's Cal #1. I picked these up at a comic shop. I showed this one last week. This one, I could never find this in good shape. I've been looking for it, ever since it kind of picked up a little steam about 4 or 5 months ago. I know Comic Price Guide has this list of like 10 hot comics to watch. And it's kind of funny because you can put anything on that list and instantly it gets hot. Even if it wasn't hot before they threw this up there. And this went from like $1 everywhere to $10, $20 some places. Just because it's been sitting on that list for the last few months. I also picked up X-Force #11, which is the first appearance of the real Domino. The last one was the first appearance of the real Copycat, or Copycat, who was appearing as Domino. It's all convoluted. But this one, with the Deadpool movie coming out, this one has a little bit of potential with it. Now, this last weekend, I live in the Phoenix area in Arizona. Actually, the town I live in is called Surprise. That's how I got the name for my channel. And my local comic book shop I go to was doing a show up in northern Arizona in the Prescott area. And so I decided to head up there and check it out. Because, the little comic book show, all it takes is one guy that's been collecting for years, just trying to get rid of stuff and not really keeping up with it. A little show like that, a little town, there's potential for something great to happen. I went a little bit disappointed, nothing too great going on there. I went in at the size of like a 2-car garage and had like 4 different sellers there. And I went through, I picked out a few things, but while I was up there, there's a Hastings nearby. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hastings, but Hastings is like a big, used bookstore, rentals for Blu-rays and stuff, and they have comic books there, and they also get exclusive comics. So whenever I buy a Hastings, I go in, I check out, I get some exclusives. So these are more recent comics. I usually don't show more recent stuff, but since these are the Hastings variants that maybe some of y'all haven't seen, I figure I'd show you guys what I found. So this is Spider-Gwen #1, the Hastings edition. It's kind of cool cover. It's weird to see Uncle Ben and Aunt May together on the cover of a spider book. And that's that one. This is Amazing Spider-Man #1. I love this cover. I wish I'm just such horrible with the artist names. I can't remember who did this one, but it's a really cool cover. There's a black and white sketch variant that is even better of this, but unfortunately they didn't have it in stock the one I went to. Got Assassin's Creed #1 Hastings variant. I like the video game. Yeah, I really, when I bought my Xbox One last year, they gave me 2 Assassin's Creed games with it. And so, basically, that's all I really played. So the only reason I bought an Xbox One is because I knew that Arkham Knight was only going to be on Xbox One, or PlayStation 4. Xbox One had a better deal. So that's why I got that. But I played the heck out of that game. And now it's like the new one coming out. I know I want to buy it, but I also know every Assassin's Creed game is like with $10 within a year of it coming out. So I like to wait, save myself $50 on games like that. But I figured I'd pick it up, give it a read, see how good it was. I also got the Back to Future Hastings variant. Looks like Doc Brown had a stroke the way they drew him on that cover. But, I love all this Back to the Future stuff. It's, one of the great movies, franchises ever. And it's cool just to see, people getting excited about Back to the Future again. Here's Deadpool number 30. I'm not too familiar with this one. Looks like they're at like some sort of party. You got Wolverine DJing in the background and some guy in a Captain America hoodie. But, it's like, half the variants at Hastings, they're Hastings exclusive, they always end up being Deadpool related. Just like this Invincible Iron Man number 1. You have, Deadpool making a Deadpool version of Iron Man or something, kind of dressing him up. So I'm not too familiar with it. I haven't read Invincible Iron Man 1 yet. I don't know if Deadpool's involved or not, but he showed up on a few of the covers, so I imagine he is. Those are my Hastings pickups. Like I said, there was about 4 or 5 vendors at this show I went to. One vendor had a 3 long boxes of comics off for 50 cents each. And so I took the opportunity to go through that. This first one is Beware the Batman number 1. It's probably not worth very much, but I don't know how many people watched the show. Obviously not very many because it didn't last very long. But this show was, it should have been groundbreaking. And it was, people were upset and it got a lot of bad press and a lot of bad vibe on the internet because rather than do the same thing that's been done a million times, he switched it up. Instead of having Robin, out of Katana, instead of Alfred being like the proper British guy, he's a kind of a bully, and he's actually training Bruce Wayne. This is early days Bruce Wayne. The animation quality was beautiful. The character design, you could say whatever you want about it, but there's so much action in this show. The storylines are good. They used villains that aren't the same villains you've seen over and over and over again in Batman stuff. They reimagined some things with it. They have some excellent Metamorpho episodes that went on the series. It's just a shame that rather than people giving it a chance and trying to enjoy it, they just tried to pick it apart. And the ratings went down. It got canceled. They moved it to I think the last 10 episodes played at 3 in the morning. I'm just happy I have a DVR because I probably wouldn't have seen them otherwise. But, it's a great show. It's not on Netflix or anything, but you can buy it on Blu-ray, DVD. Encourage everyone to go ahead and watch it. I definitely enjoyed it. Also, 50 cents, I got He-Man and the Masters of the Universe number 1. I picked it up because there's a number 1. Loved He-Man. I remember my brother and I, we'd always make jokes about He-Man when he lifts up that sword and the lightning strikes down, that instead of turning into He-Man, he just gets electrocuted. And we'd do that over and over again and just thought we were so funny. Got Futures in number 47 and 46, which is the death of Terry McGinnis in number 46, and then number 47. Tim Drake takes on the mantle of Batman Beyond. And in the new Batman Beyond series that's going on right now, that's actually Tim Drake instead of Terry McGinnis that's in that suit. So for $1 for both issues, I figured it was worth picking up another copy of them. 50 cents for Black Widow number 1. I don't know a whole lot about this series, if it was successful, if people liked it. But I saw number 1 and thought, what the heck. Picked up Arrow number 12. This is from the first series. They do keep on switching, like Arrow Year 1, Arrow 2.5 season or something like that. This is just the first series that came out. Every issue I think came in a variant with a photo. I picked this one up. I tried to research a little bit, couldn't even find much information about it, so I don't know if it's worth anything. But if you can't find it, I guess that's always a good sign for the value. But I picked up the first 6 at a similar sale a couple years back, so I figured I'd pick up a couple others. So the last one in the series, Green Arrow number 35. This issue is significant because it's the first appearance of the TV version of Felicity Smoak in continuity. I know she showed up in, the Fury of Firestorm back in the 80s. That's where her character originated from. But the character that's in the TV show is much different than that character that was in Firestorm. I think her character is also in the Arrow series from that series I just showed you. So those would be a bunch of earlier appearances of this. But I know when this book came out, there's a little bit of noise about, hey, Felicity Smoak is actually in this continuity now. So I figured for 50 cents, why not? I picked up Catwoman number 24. I guess this is the 3rd appearance of the Joker's daughter. I just like that cover. There was so much buzz about Joker's daughter when it first came up. And, I picked up number 23 and I picked up the 3D lenticular. And then when this came out, I'm like, you know what? I'll pass. But then when I saw it for 50 cents, I'm like, oh. I read number 23. I kind of, always wondered what happened next. So now I can read this and find out. Next book is Gotham Academy, and I actually picked up, 3 different copies of it in their box. So I went ahead and grabbed all 3. It's not a terribly valuable book. I think I looked on eBay. It's going for around, $8 to $10 range. Nothing too great, but for 50 cents and how many characters, this is actually their first appearance. You never know what these characters may go on to be or become in the future. This could be a valuable book someday. And this book seems to be doing pretty well. It's in kind of that Batgirl style, the new design. They're kind of building this little, kind of girl-friendly books in the Gotham community. And this book fits right in with those ones. And so I figured, why not? For $1.50, I'll take all 3. And the last book I got out of that is Nailbiter number 1. This is the Third Eye variant. And I was shocked that this was in there. Why would a variant be in a 50-cent box? And so I definitely grabbed it up right, after it took me a second of looking at it to figure out what it actually was. It's kind of a, it's a weird looking cover, but when I started looking at it more, it's actually pretty awesome looking. You got all the different hands and nails going into the mouth there. And in the mouth we have a weird font that says Nailbiter. So definitely worth 50 cents to me. These are the last books I'm going to show this time. I got Outcast number 1, picked that up for $10. I figured, it doesn't hurt. And I don't know if this happens to you guys, but when this book came out, I remember buying 3 or 4 copies of it. Because I don't, especially back then, I didn't speculate hardly on anything. But every once in a while, I'd hear about a book and I'd say, you know what, I better pick up an extra copy. And usually it was just 1 extra copy. This time I got 3 or 4 extra copies. And so I was, and then I kind of forgot about them. I put them in my box and moved on. And then the show gets announced and kind of picking up a little bit of heat. So, it's not like a terribly valuable book. So I think there's a lot of people who speculated on this one. But so I went to go look to see how many copies I actually got because I couldn't quite remember. And I can only find 1 copy. I don't know if I just imagined buying those extra copies, or if I never bought them, or if they're just stuck somewhere where I don't know where they're at. And so it's just one of those things that makes you go crazy because you bought more, but you can't find them. So I don't know if anyone else has had that experience, but it's one of those things that makes you go mad. I also got Manifest Destiny number 1. Now, this is probably, out of all the series going on right now, for me, this is easily top 5. If you like American history and you like monsters and you like just like retelling of history using magic and folklore and all that kind of stuff. This is just such an awesome series. It's on issue number 14, I think now. Yeah, I encourage anyone to pick up the trades, get caught up on it. You won't regret it unless you just don't like this kind of stuff. And I guess everyone has their cup of tea, but for me, always been a huge American history fan, always been a huge sci-fi and monster fan, and this kind of brings it all together. So it's just like right in my wheelhouse. Now these next 3 comics, I also got at that little show. And there's this one guy that just had junk at his booth. I'm just looking through it and everything's just garbage. And he gets, he had a few books for like $5 at the front of the box, and none of them were even close to being worth that much to me. And in the back of the books, he just had these grab bags where he just took 3 random comics, threw them in a bag, and put a 99-cent sticker on it. And so I get there, and most of the grab bags are just junk. And they're actually, I wouldn't say just junk, but there wasn't anything I was going to get. And so I picked up this grab bag, and this one I didn't see is Doctor Strange 80. It's really not worth anything. This is kind of a rough copy. But then I see this one's Amazing 253, and I know this has to be an early black costume issue. I also see the picture of the Rose, so I know this is and I realize this is the first appearance of Rose, or the Rose. And, this is a beater copy, so it's really not worth anything. And so I flipped the book over to see what the back comic was going to be in this little grab bag, and I couldn't believe I found this. This Marvel premiere featuring the Astonishing Ant-Man. I got that for 33 cents. Now, it's not in great condition, but I just checked on eBay to see what people have been selling these for. And just to give you a ballpark figure, it's probably, $30 to $35 in this condition is what they've been selling for recently, which kind of shocked me because a year ago this was a $10 to $15 book. But I love the movie. I'm sure most of you guys love the movie, and if you don't, you just need to, I think you need to learn to like things easier. Every time I watch something or do something, my goal is to have fun and enjoy it. And I think there's other people, their goal is just to rip it apart and hate it. And I think I've been in both camps, and definitely liking it is a lot more fun than trying to hate everything. Well, enough about that. I don't want to rant, but we'll just call it 30. We'll call it worth 33. So that means it's worth 100 times more than what I paid for. So I couldn't be happier to have this in my collection for 33 cents. That's it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. It's been fun interacting with a few of you guys on there, leaving comments and stuff. And I look forward to hear more from you. Everyone have a good night.